This is Sahar Andrade, and we are going on day 2 of the assertiveness experience. Hopefully, you get something out of it yesterday. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Wayne, for letting me know that you couldn't hear anything. Good morning, Patty, Erica, Kim, Don, Mary, Rihanna, Sam, Bill, and Sarah. And hopefully, we're going to be joined with some more to come. So yesterday, like I said, we talked what is assertiveness and why our brain doesn't go or does not accept the fact that we come straight away and stand up for ourselves and voice what we think or what we need, and how many times we actually, instead of standing for ourselves and say no, we find ourselves saying yes just to please others, and we don't stand up for ourselves most of the time. The idea why I wanted to do that is that we can start our 2019 on the right foot. There is nothing wrong with saying no to people, especially when it will be at your own expense and at the expense of achieving your dreams and the expense of doing whatever you want. Like I always say, whenever you say you put our plate is the same size no matter where we do. So if it's already full and we put something more, that means that something is gonna drop on the floor or something is not going to be done. So saying something yes to something means saying no to something else. And we need to seriously think the no that we are saying, is it something that is crucial to our life? Is it something that is crucial to our own progress, to our own success? Or is this something that it doesn't matter if I put it aside? Assertiveness doesn't mean that we say no to everything that comes our way, but we are mindful of our own progress and what we need to do in our life to succeed. And assertiveness is the ability also to say no in a positive way. That being said, let's, without further ado, go on day 2 today. Let's start. So as I said, yesterday was the first day, and it was very exciting for me because this is the first webinar I do for this year. And I'm just going to keep doing these. Maybe I will pick an idea for every month and keep going through. So I make sure that for every month we have a new idea where we can actually flourish in our life, that we can start living the life that we deserve, the life that we know we are worth of living. So thank you for being here today. And um, I know that it takes of your time, of your precious time every day to be here with me for 20 to 30 minutes. So that being said, like I said, yesterday we shared the definitions, why we do that, how the brain works. And today we are going to go further more about what is assertiveness. And yesterday when we started, I asked a few questions for the people that just joined today. It's like, are you sometimes reluctant to express your opinions or your feelings? Do you feel that others sometimes do things that you don't like, but you refrain from complaining because you just want to be liked or you just want to be nice or polite? And that niceness we have a price to pay for that. Do you find it difficult to refuse the requests from others? Do you agree just with the majority just to be part of the clan? So you feel like you won't be left alone or you won't be abandoned because you have that feeling that you want to belong somewhere, which nothing wrong with that. It's just how we do it that matters. You do frequently compromises just to stay in harmony. Do your coworkers put all the weight of work on you and you're not complaining? Do you put is between you and your siblings, your family, your neighbors, even between yourself? Do you find yourself taken for granted or neglected in any kind of relationship that you are in? If you answered yes to any of those, then you are on the right place. So now that we discussed that, let's start moving forward. How is it that we can move forward? Knowing, being here today, knowing that there is some kind of, I'm not going to call it issue, but there is some kind of um, uh, a, an issue, let's call it, yeah, and that you want to take care of and move forward, you are already halfway through to the finish line. The most important thing, like we learned in psychology, is like if someone has a problem, the minute they acknowledge that it exists, you are already halfway healed. So if you are here to discuss or to learn or to hear about assertiveness, that means that you are halfway through to your self-esteem and your full assertiveness. Assertiveness, like I said, is not something that we're born with. It's not in our DNA. It's something, it's a learned skill. And why we are not assertive, it comes a lot from issues that we have in our childhood. How did our parents treat us? What was the culture around us? Do we have to always, did we have always to be proper and like prim and proper and say yes to everybody, not to say no because it was impolite? How that manifested itself in our life, because sometimes there is kind of a glass ceiling that blocks us from moving forward just because we want to be polite. So being here is starting facing the reality of where we are. And the more we get frustrated, the more we look at things that are standing in our way to move forward, comes the time where we say, you know what, enough is enough. And it happened to me. Like for years and years and years, I was just, all what I wanted to do is people to be happy around me. And it didn't matter how I felt. And what it did, it created just a lot of resentment inside of me. So this is what we call the beginning of a transformation journey. Being here is the first step of the transformation journey. Every 1,000 miles journey starts with a one little step, a baby step. And that's why I always say, take baby steps. You are in no rush, there is no one pressuring you here. You take it at your own pace, as long as you know that you are doing the change, as long as you have, like they say, your eye on the prize. So any transformation journey, no matter what you do, or any personal change journey, has 4 steps. You need to know where you are, and that's the beginning or the origin of your journey. You need to know where you're going, where your destination, because if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't really matter what way or route you take. And if you don't know from where you're starting, where you stand today, what is your strength, like we said yesterday, what are your weaknesses, what is it, what the value that you bring in, what do you want to achieve, where are you standing today firm on the ground? And also look at where you want to be. Look at the end of your journey. How do you want it to be? Imagine it, visualize it. See how does it look? How does it feel inside of you? How is it around you is going to work? How does it even look? And that's like I tell people, if you want to be like do everything you want and then go on a, like for example, on a trip or even retire on a beach, start feeling the sand in your toes, start feeling, close your eyes and feel the sun on your skin. Hear the breeze, hear the waves breaking. You need to put yourself in that environment, because this is what will help you. This will be your motivation to move forward. Sometimes I tell people, if this is too hard to imagine, imagine yourself at your retirement party where you have finished all your career and someone is praising your skills, your talent. What do you want them to say? And take that and work it backwards to where you are today. So you would know the route in front of you will be a lot clearer on what steps or what skills you need to acquire, what do you need to study, or what do you need to accomplish to get to that end of the road where you are retiring and people are singing your praise. Start it from today. Don't wait till you retire or till you finish everything. And this is a common mistake for people. They say, when I will do this. When I will do this. And what happens is that an idea will stay an idea and will die an idea. Unless you execute what you think about, it will never going to happen. So taking the step of being here today is part of the execution plan that you have put for yourself. And I'm really happy that you decided to do that. So origin, destination, knowing how you're going to get there or filling the gap, that means working it backwards, needing what you want, and then knowing that you got there, or what we call measurement. When knowing when you got there, you will know that you achieved whatever you need to achieve to be there. That's the 4 steps of transformation journey. whenever we start, we are always, we get anxiety and we get stressed because we are going into an environment that we don't know what we're talking about, or we don't know, or we have never stepped in before. So weigh in the benefits versus having to stay stuck where you are. And no matter what change we do, small or big, even if we start taking, like for example, when I drive somewhere and my Waze tells me to take a new route, I get some anxiety. Why? Because I feel safe knowing that the route I take normally is the one that I know, so I know what to expect. But the minute I throw myself out of that comfort zone, I feel that attachment and then safety going away. And that's why I get a little bit of anxiety. Change always brings a danger that we feel like, because we don't know where we're going. Are we going to lose more than we will gain? But we need to do this analysis, and usually, if you really think about it with a calm mind, that's why I said you need to start thinking, take a deep breath, 3 or 4 deep breaths, and start imagining where you want to go. Change will always bring anxiety, but it's a good anxiety because it's gonna take you wherever you want. There are always, whenever you do a change, two forces, one pulling you forward and one pulling you backwards. So you have that tension in between, one that tries to keep you in place trapped and one that wants to push you to the front. The best thing that we can do to ourselves is to sit with this feeling till we get used to it and start moving forward. Because whatever keeps us in place, no matter how we call it, it's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of ridicule, fear of embarrassment, fear of losing things. It's no matter, fear masquerades in so many ways. There are at least 100 and some types of fear that are known in the world. So no matter what it is, it's called fear. And fear for me, it's fake elements appearing real. The only thing you need to fear is fear because it's inside of our head. We need to look at change as crisis and opportunity at the same time. So for every crisis, there is opportunity that comes through. Well, call me an optimist. I'm a Libra, so I always see a silver lining around any cloud. But I always see in every crisis that we have, on the long run, there is an opportunity that comes that takes us to the next level. We learn from it. And that's the difference between people that are assertive and optimistic and people that are pessimistic and have the victim mentality. Is like, why me? It's like, I always look, what is the lesson that I need to hear, to know, to learn from here? Everything comes with a crisis and opportunity in it. And that's why we have to look at it. It's scary sometimes to do a change, but sometimes it's the best thing that we can do to ourselves, is to have that challenge and move forward. This is what we call a transformation dilemma. It shapes who we are. The more we become more resilient, and that's why the journey of changing to be more assertive is what we really can do to ourselves, the best thing that we can do to ourselves, to stand up for ourselves. And there are, like I said, two forces pulling us back and forth. So we have that choice. It becomes down to a choice. Do we choose to make decisions that have a lot of implications on it? And no one will ever make that decision for us. And that's why we need to make sure that we take that decision for our own benefit. So what decision are you trying to make today? Are you ready yet to move to your assertiveness corner, or you want to stay where you are? So this is the first exercise that we will do today. Think about the dilemma to start standing up for yourself and start saying no, creating new boundaries between you and other people. It's a certain kind of transformation, and that change is coming. So I want you to start thinking here. What is the double bind here? What are the two forces that are pulling you forward or pushing you backwards? What are the positive and negative vibes that you're feeling? What is holding you back? Only you can decide that, and only you can be honest with yourself. So take a sheet of paper. You can do it now, or you can do later after we finish this. And I will send an email like I sent yesterday at the end of the day with the recording as well as the exercise that I want you to do. Think about this. You are already deciding, since you're here, to move forward to be more assertive. Think about one situation that happened where you needed to be assertive and you need to move forward now. What is holding you back in your place? What is that little voice that tells you, no, no, just be nice, don't, come on, it's a calm water, don't make any waves. And what is telling you, no, I need to move on? I want you to write those together, and I want you to start thinking, how does it feel? What will happen that is negative to me if I stay here? If I do what I always did? What can happen that is negative if I move forward? What are the dangers? What are the risks? What is at stake? Unless you start analyzing everything about where you are today, you're not going to be able to move forward. I always believe that we always need to go to the root of any problems and not just deal with the symptoms. Like if you have a headache, take an Advil, you're good. No, it's not. You need to know why do you have a headache? Does it come from a vision problem, tooth problem, high blood pressure? Because it masks things, and once just we take a palliative to make it go, the problem didn't go away. But we are kind of ignoring it for a while, we numb it, and what can happen is that problem can become with a vengeance back. And that's why we need to always go to the root of the problem. This exercise will help you do it. And also think about the other way now. We looked at the negative implications, look at the positive implications. What positive things I'm going to have if I move forward? What are there anything positive if I stay where I am? What are the benefits? What are the rewards? What is my payoff? Either if I move forward or I stay where I am. So that's the first exercise for today. Being assertive is asking, like I said yesterday, for whatever you need in a clear and open way, explaining rationally why you want to do it that way without trying to use either emotional abuse, emotional leverage, inappropriate emotional leverage. You just do it giving the reasons. Like someone tells you, I want you to drive me to the airport now. And usually you say yes, but you know you have a very important meeting and you can't do it. So you say, what? I would love to take you to the airport, but I can't do at that time. I can do it only at this time. Or you can say, maybe that person can take you, or maybe you can call a shuttle. You know, there is nothing wrong with that, especially that you feel that something important for you is to do. You have to find a midway or a middle way between you and between the needs of others. It's not only about you and it's not only about them. Being assertive shows respect and ensures that you have a fair way to take a decision. There is a process called the ladder approach, and we're going to go through it in a second. So whenever you start using assertiveness, think about the ladder approach. So L, look at your rights, look at your wants, your needs, and understands where you are. A, arrange for a meeting or a phone call or even seeing them for a few minutes to discuss what is at hand. Like someone telling you, let's go, take me to the airport right now. Okay. Define what's the problem specifically. Like, tell, you know what, I wish I knew, or I wish you gave me enough notice before, but right now it's crucial for me to attend this meeting. And you don't have to give excuses. You don't have to give reasons. You just state clearly what you have to do. Describe your feelings to the other person. Tell them, you know what, now I feel really pressured because I really want to take you to the airport, but I still have to do that meeting. I wish you gave me enough time. Now they understand that next time they need to give you enough time in advance. E, express what you want clearly and concisely, like we just said it. Say what you want. Ask for what you want. So how to approach assertively? Like I said, look at your rights, your needs, and your wants. Arrange for a meeting or some time to discuss with the other people what do you want to discuss. Define the problem specifically. Describe your feelings to the other person, and then express what you want clearly and concisely, and reinforce the other side. Explain the mutual benefits. So let me, for example, take again that example of going to the airport. Look at what you want. I mean, you know that you can do it right now. You know that for sure. So instead just to being nice and ignoring whatever you have to do, basically hurting yourself and whatever you want to do for yourself, you arrange for a meeting. You talk to them, either if they talking to you on the phone or face to face. You stand right there and you talk to them about the situation. You define the problem specifically, that this is a last minute request, and I have something important that I need to do. Describe your feelings, meaning saying, you know what, I really want to take you, but I wished I knew before. If I had enough time, maybe I could have rearranged my meeting. So maybe now you can ask someone else or even call for a shuttle, and express what you want. That next time, if this happens again, I wish you can give me some time in advance, like a couple of days in advance. And of course, unless it's an emergency. And then reinforce the other side. Say, like, you know what, I really would like to help you here, but I wish I knew. If it's something that can wait for later on, I would love to help you with it. So this way, it's you're okay, they are okay, but you just stand your ground on whatever is important to you. So the ladder, I call it the ladder approach. So how do you deal with others, especially others that are different or that are demanding? Do you let them walk all over you? Or I want you to start thinking, pause for a minute and ask, how do you generally interact with those that think different than you? So where are you? Remember, we said assertiveness is in the middle between being a bully or a doormat. Where are you from these three spectrums? Do you ever view, if you compromise in the middle, it's a weakness? I used to feel that. And that's why I used to be like very forceful about what I want. But I came to learn with age or with maturity that no, you can be assertive without really pushing what you want. Do you have any empathy with the people that you deal with that are different? Do you sometimes justify someone's attitude or behavior that is difficult or uncivil, or even yours that could be either one or the other, just because you want to win, or just because you want to be nice and you want to be polite? Where are you from that spectrum? So there is what we call assertive communication, and it's the ability to speak and interact, respecting your rights and respecting other rights. And I know that I keep repeating that, but it's the base and the root of assertiveness. It's not only about what you want, but it's also respecting other people, place and needs and wants. And once you become assertive, even if people don't like what you do, you will be respected because they will know exactly where you stand. That line in the sand will always be there. And this is what we call that line in the sand, your personal boundaries, that I highly believe in boundaries. The assertive communication create a positive impact both on your personal and professional lives. Guess what? Because your relationships become better, because you know where you stand and others know where you stand and they know where they stand from that relationship. It's about respectfully listening to what they want and finding a solution that is win-win, not demanding and being my way or the highway, like we said yesterday. So there are verbal, the assertive communication is part of verbal and non-verbal. Verbal meaning like face to face when we talk, or non-verbal is our body language and how it should be. So let's start with the verbal when we talk. When someone asks you something, restate what they have, meaning say back to the person what you heard him or her say, because sometimes our perceptions are different and we can misunderstand and we can act on things that we think are right, but actually it's not what the other person wanted. And that's why we need to restate what they say. Especially when it comes to feeling, always use I statements, because no one can fault you for your own feelings. I believe, I feel, I see. Because the minute you start saying they feel already attacked, which I know you're not attacking them, but that's people become defensive the minute you start saying you. Reflect or reflection, discuss what Where are you both right now? What you heard them say, and clarify. Again, it's part of restatement. Clarify, or if you don't get it or you are not sure of the perception, can you please clarify this a little bit more? Because I don't want to take a conclusion, or I don't want to come to a decision that might be wrong because I misunderstood what you said. Distinguish a fact and an opinion, or a perception, respect or rights. Don't order people around, and don't blame, shame, or guilt people when you're trying to find a win-win situation. The minute you do that, you lose the whole conversation. And remember, it's a conversation. Ask questions, so this way you can share your feelings and your thoughts with others. So these are the verbal things that assertive people should do. Let's go to the nonverbal. Nonverbal is basically your tone of voice, how you look, how you stand. So you need to make appropriate eye contact. And I know that in certain cultures, you don't maintain that direct eye contact all the way, though here in the United States, we have to maintain that direct eye contact. If not, people assume or perceive that you are either lying or hiding something, or you're not very self-confident. So cultures come in play here. And when you stand firm and stand tall. Have open gesture. For example, don't close your arms like that. If I go into a session and I have my participants closing their arms like that, the first question I ask them, are you cold? And then I start the conversation, because when someone does that, close their arms, basically they are closing you away. They're telling you, go away. I don't want to hear you. And people tell me, yeah, but this is what I have been doing all my life. It doesn't really matter, because it's not about you. It's about the perception that the other person that you're trying to communicate with gets. So when you stand tall, have open gesture, support your comments. When you speak in a clear, firm tone of voice. Have it steady, not very low and not very high. Very high is aggressive. Very low is being no self-confident. So find that proper voice. I have a loud voice, so I had to train myself to get it into a level where people don't think it's aggressive. Okay, I come from a culture that is loud. Even when my husband first met me, he told me, "Why do you guys yell at each other whenever you see each other?" And I'm like, "We're not yelling. It's just the louder I guess we get, the more friendly we are." But anyhow, smile. When you're pleased, and don't frown. Because all these facial expressions, people perceive it in a different way, especially if we are from different cultures. So be aware of your body language. Body language is all the truth. You can say whatever you want to say in words, but as long as you don't have the body language that goes with it, people will not believe you. Okay, so make sure that the space, you preserve that personal space. Show no hesitation, and use the same words that both of you are using, which we call keywords. So this way you know that you're both on the same wavelength. The benefits of assertiveness, it's like, when we don't have, like yesterday I said that research shows that whenever we have to say no, we get into that state of anxiety and stress, and sometimes it can lead to even depression. So we don't want that. So the benefits of assertiveness is to reduce your anxiety, your stress, because of clarity, because you know where you're going. It allows you to express your feeling with clarity, your needs and your wants. And the more you do that, the more your self-esteem increases. Your self-confidence is enhanced, because you feel you have better control of your own life. This way, others will have more respect, even if they don't agree with you, but they know where exactly do you stand. Your relationships will greatly improve, because you're not wishy-washy anymore, and people know that they can depend on you. And if a conversation comes and say, "Oh, Sahar told me this," and I'm like, in my mind, I know where she stands, so I'm like, I don't think she said that, because I know her boundaries. And that's why our personality becomes more enhanced, and people know where we stand. Saying no, the benefit of assertiveness is saying no without feelings of being self-conscious or guilt or shame. And it motivates others also to share with you their own feelings. And this way, the relationships will be clear. That's why we improve our relationships. It allows you to ask for help from others without fear or stress, or shaming that they are say, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing or he doesn't know what he's doing. Your time management skills will improve. Guess why? Like I said, you say yes to something, you say no to something else. And you'll work more and more and more and more on delivering less and less and less, because your time will be your time. You control it and you go as it please. You will have a positive self-image of who you are because you're becoming more assertive. Like we said, self-confidence, self-esteem will increase, and no more slinking to the corner, like we always say. Developing assertiveness is sometimes can be the difference between success and failure. So this is was today's session, and we are 9:34. I'm sorry for the couple of technical difficulties that we had. I'm gonna go back and edit those parts so you can have a full session. Like I said today, please do the exercises that we talked about today, and these exercises are hi Rose. These exercises will have, I'm going to put them in the email that I'm going to send you later on with the link for the whole video so you can follow up. Please do these exercises, and you have any ideas, or if you have any issues doing them or writing them, it can be difficult if you do it for the first time. Let me know. So send me an email, respond to my email, or send me a like even here in the discussion, just tell me tomorrow when we come in what we're going to do. So tomorrow what we're going to do, we're going to talk more about assertiveness and what is it and what is self-esteem. And we're going to talk about, we're going to start, now that we discussed why we do it, how we do it, what are the benefits, we're going to start discussing the beginning of the shift, the beginning of the change, and what are the different part or different elements that comes into a personal change, because change is always scary, because we don't know what we're getting ourselves to. So once we know the basics of the change, it will be easier. So tomorrow is the third day, and let's go through that. We are going to start learning how to do it, and then we have solution on the fourth day, and we wrap up on the fifth day. So for today, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really enjoyed having you. Hopefully you enjoyed your session with me too. And I know our schedules are really bad, so giving me 30 minutes of your morning is totally appreciated. This is Sahar Andrade, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.